Ever wonder how services like Netflix or Spotify can handle millions of people all at once without even breaking a sweat? Well, the magic behind it isn't just one single giant computer. It's actually the incredible ability to make one computer act like an entire army of them. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the foundational tech that powers pretty much the entire modern internet: virtualization and containers. It's kind of funny to think about now, but not too long ago, this was how everything worked. You'd have a big, expensive physical server, and its entire job was to do just one thing, maybe run a website or a database. But the thing is, most of the time, that powerful server was just sitting there, barely using a fraction of its potential. It was just so inefficient. And that inefficiency led to a really simple but totally revolutionary question. Instead of this clunky one-to-one relationship between a machine and a single app, what if we could slice up that one physical machine and have it do the work of dozens? And the answer to that question? Well, that was virtualization. It was the first massive breakthrough in solving that problem of wasted server power, and honestly, it changed everything. Here's the core idea, and it's pretty brilliant. You take all those separate jobs, your file server, your email server, your web server, and you basically funnel them all down so they can run on one single powerful piece of hardware. All of a sudden, one machine is doing the work of 5, 10, maybe even more. So what virtualization lets you do is create these multiple virtual machines, or VMs, all on that one physical server. And here's the cool part. Each VM is its own self-contained, totally isolated world. It thinks it's a completely separate computer. This, right here, is the fundamental tech that makes all of cloud computing possible. Just how effective is this? Well, we can measure it with something called a consolidation ratio. A 6-to-1 ratio, for example, means one physical machine is doing the work of 6. By moving to virtualization, some companies were able to get rid of 75% of the physical servers in their data centers. That's not a small improvement. That is a massive gain in efficiency. And the benefits were just huge. You're getting way more out of your hardware, which means you're saving a ton of money on electricity and cooling. You get this incredible flexibility because you can create a brand new virtual server in minutes, not weeks. And because each VM is isolated, if one of them has a problem and crashes, it doesn't take down all the others with it. But how does this magic trick actually work? What's the software that's pulling all the strings behind the scenes? Well, it all comes down to something called the hypervisor. The hypervisor is the secret sauce. It's this clever layer of software that sits right on the hardware and acts as the boss. It manages the physical CPU, the memory, the storage, all of it, and carefully hands out those resources to all the different virtual machines running on top. It's the traffic cop for the whole system. Now, there are two main flavors. On the left, you've got a Type 1 or bare metal hypervisor. It installs directly onto the server hardware itself. But on the right, you have a Type 2, which is more like a regular application that you run on top of an operating system you already have, like Windows or Mac OS. And that difference really matters. Type 1 is what you'll find in massive data centers, because it's way faster, more efficient, and more secure. It's got direct access to the hardware. Type 2, on the other hand, is perfect for a developer who wants to run a Linux environment on their Mac, for instance. So, virtualization was a total game changer, no question, but it had one pretty significant drawback, a kind of heavy secret that paved the way for the next big evolution in computing. Think about it. Every single one of those virtual machines needs its own full copy of an operating system. That is a ton of baggage. We're talking gigabytes of storage for each one, and they can take minutes to boot up. In the world of modern software, that's an eternity. We needed something lighter. And that's where containerization comes into the picture. Here's the big idea. Instead of virtualizing the hardware, what if we could just virtualize the operating system itself? It's a huge shift. Your apps get packaged into these tidy, isolated spaces called containers, and they all just share the single OS of the host machine. Look at how much cleaner this is. You have your hardware, your one host OS, and then boom, your applications just run directly in their containers right on top. There's no heavy guest OS for each one. This simple change makes everything so much more efficient. The advantages are just night and day. Containers are tiny. We're talking megabytes instead of gigabytes. They start up in seconds, not minutes. And because a container packages up an app with all its dependencies, it runs the exact same way everywhere, on your laptop, in testing, in production. It's perfect for how modern apps are built. All right, so let's put these two revolutionary technologies side by side. The heavyweight champ, virtual machines, versus the lightweight challenger, containers. If you only remember one thing, let it be this. On the left, VMs need a hypervisor to create entire virtual computers, each with its own operating system. On the right, containers all share one OS kernel. It's like this. A VM is like building a whole new house for every guest you have. A container is like just giving them their own private locked room inside the main house. Much more efficient. So let's just break it down. Size: VMs are heavyweights, measured in gigabytes. Containers are featherweights in megabytes. Boot time? You could go make a coffee waiting for a VM to start. A container is up and running before you can even blink. Now, there is a trade-off. VMs give you super strong hardware-level isolation. Containers are a bit more like a really good lock on a door. Still very secure, but at the process level. So these concepts are great, but what are the actual tools that made this whole container revolution happen? Who are the big players? You've almost definitely heard these two names, Docker and Kubernetes. In the container world, these two are the undisputed power couple. They work together to power so many of the apps we use every single day. Here's the easy way to think about it. Docker is the tool that builds and runs a single container. It does that job perfectly. But what happens when you have hundreds or even thousands of containers running across a whole fleet of servers? That's where Kubernetes comes in. It's the conductor of the orchestra, the air traffic controller. It automates the whole process of deploying and managing all those containers at scale. And that's really why all this matters. This whole evolution, from those heavy virtual machines to these fast, lightweight containers, is what allows for the speed and reliability we expect from the modern digital world. Every time you stream a movie, order food, or check a social media app, you're interacting with this technology. So, we've gone from one machine for one app to one machine running many virtual machines, to one machine running countless containers. The trend is always towards more abstraction and greater efficiency, which leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. What's the next layer we're going to virtualize?